yeah. Terminator. Oh yeah. One of the greatest science fiction movies ever made of all time. But I'm not talking about Star Wars. Star Wars is not science fiction. Star Wars is a fantasy. So I'm not talking about Star Wars. Do not even bother asking me. So in 1977, after the director James Cameron saw Star Wars, he gave up his job as a truck driver to become a filmmaker, film producer. So that he came with the idea of making Terminator. He was actually suffering a fever, and like he had this crazy dream of a robot attacking him. So the time travel thing, I don't know where he got that from, but pretty good film. Released in 1984. Nah, it's a pretty interesting film. I actually like it. So it stars Arnold Schwarzenegger, Lance Henriksen, who played Bishop in the Alien sequel. That was he was originally the role for the Terminator, but somehow they didn't get that role. Somehow the role didn't fit him because he wasn't that big and muscular. So when Arnold Schwarzenegger came onto the role, so James Cameron was like, that's him. That's the guy. He's big, muscular guy. I want him. I want him to be a Terminator. So apparently the savior for Sarah Connor, played by Linda Hamilton, is Michael Biehn. He's kind of kind of slender, not muscular. So a big, slender guy versus a big muscular guy. That was a pretty good story. Pretty huge challenge. So he explains to her, why she's so important, because her son's gonna be the leader of the future resistance, and their son will eventually grow up. But the movie ends with a pretty good story. How Michael Biehn, Kyle Reese gave his life to save Sarah Connor. So yeah, it's a very good film. I actually like it. It's kind of like it's more of like a love story, because he came back in time to save her. He traveled through time, because he loved her. And yeah, it's a very good film. It's like a love story, science fiction. So on a scale of 1 to 10, I give it about a 9. Very good 9. So I actually liked it. Very good science fiction film. And then in 1991 came Terminator 2, Judgment Day, which was an even bigger success, because this is like one of the greatest sequels ever made. Seriously, it's much more action, much more. He's like the Terminator is much more efficient. It's not that it's efficient. It like defied CGI, because it was like the first film to use CGI. Wouldn't exactly say it is the first film, but one of the very first films to make CGI. Arnold Schwarzenegger comes back as a Terminator, but this time he's on the other side of the war. He's defending the leader of the resistance, John Connor, played by Edward Furlong. And Linda Hamilton comes back, but in a deleted scene, Michael Biehn came back as Kyle Reese, but apparently that scene was cut from the film. But it's in the DVD version. And the villain is Robert Patrick. They actually reversed the roles, because in the first one it was like this slim guy against this big muscular guy who's more powerful. But in this one, they reversed, like a big muscular guy is going up against this slim, guy's not even that muscular. So eventually the slim guy is more powerful than the muscular guy. So that's pretty interesting. It's better graphics, more weaponry. So, because in a way, James Cameron was on the rise of success sometime in the 80s, because with The Abyss and all that stuff, and all the other films he did. And so apparently, he had much more money to make Terminator 2 better than Part 1. Because Part 1, you can clearly see he didn't have that much to work with. So he did what he could. And this time, he had what he had to do work with. So I don't know, because between Terminator 1 and 2, you figure it'd be a 2-part series, because part 2 picks up where Part 1 left off, and it sums it all up. So I don't see why there was a cause for Part 3. And I just don't know. It's like a head scratcher. by Jonathan Mostow. Don't know who that is. So Arnold Schwarzenegger comes back to defend John Connor. That's pretty cool. But the villain's a woman played by Christina Loken, and John Connor is played by Nick Stahl, and his future wife played by Claire Danes. That's pretty cool. But I don't know, the TX against a woman versus at first it was people get psyched, but eventually it just didn't fall into place. So I personally, from my point of view, I think they should have had a male model play the villain. And somehow I don't see part 3 any better than part 1 or 2. So, oh yeah, I forgot. I forgot to rate part 2. Well, part 2 is scale 1 to 10, 9.5. It's better than the first one. I recommend you see it. And part 3, oof, it's a 7. Seriously, it is a 7. It has its pretty good moments, it has its dull moments, but it was the early 2000, around anything around 2001, 2002, 2003. A lot of films came out at that time, just weren't that very good. Until 2009 came James Cameron's Avatar, and that was a huge success. But I'm going to review that some other time. I just don't know about Terminator 3. It's a 7. I don't know. I just don't recommend you see it. I just don't like part 3. I just don't recommend it. And then part 4, 2009. And then that's when the war goes on, you know? Like, we see an older version of John Connor. So he's like, you know, he's an adult now. You know, like, the war's going on. Sam Worthington's playing the Terminator. He's trying to find his true self. Terminator Salvation came out in 2009. You know, we meet up. He meets up with Kyle Reese, you know, but very good film. On a scale of 1 to 10, I give it about an 8.5. You know, it's better than part 3. It more like redeemed itself. But I didn't like the way the film ended. You know, the movie should have made it about 2.5 hours. The movie's like an hour 55 minutes. They should have made it about 2.5 hours and have it end with John sending the T-800 back to defend his younger self, and Kyle Reese to defend his mom. So I didn't like the way it ended, and they're saying part 5 is going to come out in a couple of years. I don't know when exactly. But Arnold Schwarzenegger said himself he's interested in coming back. That's pretty cool. And Robert Patrick's going to be coming back too. But I heard that he's going to be playing a scientist who created the T-1000 model. That's why the T-1000 model looks like Robert Patrick, or the guy who created it. But I don't know about that. We'll just have to wait till it comes out. Whether if we have to wait like 12 years or 6 years, but part 3, it really was 12 years after. So, pretty good film series. I actually liked it. So, perfect 8. So, love the film. Thanks for watching my film review. And if you want me to review any type of film you might like, tell me and I'll do it. So, thank you for watching.